Grandma, will you tell me a story?
So what's there to know about me? I'm the youngest of 4 children. My father was a butcher and my mother had been a commercial artist. They were very firm but fair, a trait I also have. My childhood was happy and simple. We weren't rich in monetary terms, but we were rich with love and family. I loved school, especially dictation in primary school. Bet you didn't know that. My family gave up a lot so I could do the leaving certificate and go to Teachers College at Wagga. I taught primary for many years in the suburbs and at Broken Hill. Later I was at a high school and transferring to teach secondary subjects when I married and moved to the States. Richard was a US Air Force ground engineer, introduced by a mutual friend that I'd made at Wagga. Didn't know that either. In America, we lived in South Carolina and Ohio and travelled extensively along the East Coast. In Ohio, my pride and joy, Stuart, was born. A year or so later, we returned to live in Sydney. And a year after that, my ray of sunshine, Brian, was born. The boys were close brothers. Stuart was technical and Brian very artistic. Stuart then went on to cycling, which he still enjoys today. Sadly, my marriage ended when the boys were in their teens, but they supported me greatly, as did my family and friends. I was teaching special ed since Brian was born. I really loved it and continued to do so until I retired recently. So I spent nearly 50 years in the workforce. Travel's been exciting adventures. Places I've been to are New Zealand, England, Scotland, France, Tuscany, and I did a walking tour there, the Antarctic, the Baltic Sea, US. When I was 9, my grandmother gave me a book called Jane of Lantern Hill, and it was set on Prince Edward Island. I've always dreamed that I wanted to go there. I was in my late 60s when I achieved it. Now, family and friends are the most important things in my life, have always been and will always be. A large part of me died when Brian died as a result of an accident when he was aged only 23. But he left 2 precious gifts for us all, 2 precious girls for us all to love and cherish. Stuart fell in love with a Kiwi and now lives over in New Zealand. He owns a bike shop, he rides in coaches. He phones often and regularly, visits often, and I've just returned from a wonderful visit with him. So I'm very fortunate to have wonderful friends in all walks of life and ages. Some I've had for 30, 40 years, others just new, but they are important. Yes, I have regrets and sorrows, but love, joy and contentment fill me now.
Born in Laos in 1953 in a small village. I get married in 1974. I went to live in Vientiane and have a cafe. After that, I have 2 kids. In 1976, my husband, he passed away. In 1978, we went to Thailand with our family. In 1979, we from Thailand come to Australia. We live in hostel. In that time, I studied English part-time for 2 terms. In the 6th month, I got a job. I went to work in the plastic factory in Meadowbank as an operator, look after the machine and packing. When I start making money, I move out of the hostel, go to live in the Cabramatta with my mother-in-law and my kids. In 1980, May, my mom and my brother, they came from Thailand to Australia. They come to live with me. One day, I finished work from the factory, come home in the Cabramatta station. I walked down the stairs, I took my ankle. One day, my mom took me to see the Chinese doctor, but he wasn't home. He took me to his friend's place, and his friend's son, my friend, to his study English at home. I was talking with him. I said, "Oh, you're this old. How come you work so hard still studying English?" He said, "Oh, you don't know, in the church they have the students that teach English there. If you don't understand English, they explain you in Cantonese." So she invited me to go to the church. I go to the church. I start to listen to the singing. I like the song and start listen to the gospel. After that, I became a Christian. 1981, I have baptized and I have moved from Cabramatta to the Villawood, live there, because before that I was playing with my kids kids every night. Ask God to give me the place to live. 1986, I sick from work because the machine learning is too, the material no good. The machine learning is too far and too hot, too smoky, too windy. Make my toe, my eye, my head always hurt. So I finished work. I went to study English again. The migrant center. After 1 year later, I started have the other sickness. Schizophrenia. I got into the hospital twice.
Did you get better?
Yeah, I get better later. And 1993, my twin granddaughter was born. They need someone to look after, so I stopped study. I look after my grandchildren. 2002, I have breast cancer. I have operation. After that, I have chemo and radiotherapy. The last time radiotherapy, I'll tell the doctor, I don't know why. I'm so tired and so thirsty. And the doctor get a nurse to check my blood. They find out it's sugar too high. That's why since that I have the diabetes. In 2005, I moved from Widowwood to Canterville, and my mom come to live with me. 2009, she passed away, and in 2008, I moved to here now, Fairfield East. Now I still look after my grandchildren, Eva, Device for my son, and Catherine for my daughter. My family keep going. Let's God's blessing. Thank God for everything.